All right, everybody, summer's in full swing out here at the Lagoon Park in Farmington, Utah. I'm gonna give you my 5 favorite rides out here. Join us today on the XP Project. All right, everybody, the summer is now in full swing here at the Lagoon Park in Farmington, Utah. So I wanted to come out pretty fresh here at the beginning of the season and talk about my top favorite rides at the park. So we're gonna go, these are my favorite rides, so let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree on these. It's my personal favorites. I've got some older ones on here, some newer ones, so let's jump into this. All right, so I've got Rocket at number 5 on this list. I know that like this is one of those rides that's like at a lot of amusement parks. You know, it's just the launch up and down type ride. So it's not really anything that unique, but I just love these type of rides. I love anything that like launches you from 0 to whatever, you know, in a couple seconds. And so that's why this one's on this list. It is number 5. It's the last one on my list, but it's a ride that I've been just riding since I was really young. And I just love these type of rides at any amusement park.
Rest your head back against the headrest and hold on to the safety restraint handle.
So on this one, you've got the option to go up slowly and then drop fast, or launch up fast and then it kind of bounces up and down. I've always been a fan of the one that goes up slow, because you get like right now we're going up, you get like this really good view of the park. And so I like that a little bit better, but a lot of people like that like rocket feel of dropping. Here we go. Here we go. Whoa! Woo! Such a good feeling. Classic. Short, sweet, but classic. I will say a couple things about the Rocket. I do like that you do get the option of either the blast off or re-entry, because it's kind of like 2 separate rides. So I like that option. But I will say, middle of summer, that queue can get insanely packed. I mean, it was actually like a walk-on today, but during like certain busy times, like especially during Frightmares and stuff, that queue, it's a very slow loader. So just keep that in mind. Like, I only go on the Rocket if it's basically a walk-on, but it's so classic. All right, so I've got Primordial at number 4 on this list. This ride is such a unique ride, and if you've been coming to this park as long as I have, we've never had anything like this here. It kind of has that borderline like dark ride feel that you get at a lot of the big amusement parks, like Universal Studios, Disney, and stuff like that. And I just love that so much about this ride. I remember coming the first day and like seeing that like animatronic here in the first building, and just thinking like, man, it kind of feels like Lagoon's turned, you know, like a different leaf when this ride came out. And it just means a lot to a lot of people out here because it's like growth in the park. And I know not everybody loves this ride. It's kind of, what I've seen by comments is people either like really love it or they really hate it. But whether you like it or hate it, it does kind of move this park into a little bit of a future, technologically, I guess is the best way to put it. Just like a more technological future. And the fact that, this is something that I did want to mention this year, just now that it's been open for a year now, the fact that it really doesn't go down a ton, and correct me if I'm wrong, every time I'm out here it's pretty much running. There are times when it kind of stops here and there. Really kind of says a lot about the maintenance team here, because you know, you go to Disney and there's a lot of rides that are down for like the whole day, or you know, for multiple days. And so the fact that they keep it running like that really impresses me. So that's why it's here on my list. You know, and the other thing I really like about this ride too is that they've got like a really fun little gift shop here right at the end that you come through. And if you turn left right when you come into the gift shop, they've got like the high scores, you know, of the people from the like best of all time day and the last most recent game. And you know, you've seen Grant Williams on my videos before. He's always on that best of all time list usually. So come in here and check that out. But that just makes this ride so fun also. All right, so I have got Colossus at number 3. This ride is just kind of a unique one. You know, I kind of like to pick like the unique rides for these kind of things. This is a ride that has 2 loop-de-loops on it, I guess is what you'd call them. That's kind of the layman's term for it. There's not a lot of coasters that have like the loop and then another loop. It's just like a really unique coaster, and this is actually a really old coaster too. I remember going on this coaster when I was like, oh man, like probably like 6 years old, or you know, like somewhere around that age, and it's just such a good coaster. And it's actually, one of the things that I have to say about this one too, is that for its age, it's actually still really smooth, I guess would be the good way to say it. It's not super jerky for its age, because it is a still coaster track. And so it's actually pretty smooth, but that's why I have this one on 3, and this might even be more of like a nostalgic thing for me, but I think it's just such a good coaster. It's not super thrilling, but it's thrilling enough, and it's just like one of those that really anybody can go on.
Above your head. Hold on tight and enjoy your ride.
I always like this one because like when you're coming up the little hill here, you just get a good little view of this side of the park. Sun's always shining, so great. Here we go. So I do always want to ask you guys, do you guys know of any coaster in the US that has like the loop, then loop? I know like there's a lot of coasters where it'll have multiple loops in the ride, but this is the only one I've ever seen that has loop and then immediately another loop. And I think that's one of the things that kind of makes this one unique. And you know, back especially when we were kids, like when you thought about Lagoon, like Colossus was one of like the, it was one of the like signs, like the symbols of Lagoon. So, but let me know if you know about that. I'd really like to hear about it. All right, so I have got Cannibal at number 2 on this list. I know there's probably a lot of argument to be made that this should be number 1. This is one of the best coasters I've ever been on in my entire life, in my honest opinion. It's one of the only coasters still to this day that, like, I'm a little nervous to go on still every time, and I know it makes me sound like a baby. But I just, it's a thrill. It's an absolute thrill ride, and I absolutely love it, and that's why it's number 2 at this list. I do just have the one ride that's more fun to me, in my opinion, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this is at number 2.
Yeah, I'm retired, so it's like, it's easy to do. This is perfect.
Okay, here we go. Hey, do you guys want to say hi?
Hey.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, fourth ride on Cannibal.
Woo!
Last time, no hands. I'm gonna try it again this time.
Oh, everyone else is doing the no hands. I gotta hold on.
I held on the first 2 times. The last one I didn't.
Anyway, see what happens.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Whoa! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! This part right here, you just can't describe it.
I'm like,
Whoa!
I just feel like, my feet.
And then I just wanted to take a second also to thank everybody for watching the channel, taking time out of your day to be along the ride here. This is such a great park, and I just appreciate the community that we're building. Thank you so much. All right, one thing I did want to say too, I really like doing these top 5 or top 3 or whatever videos. If there's something you want me to like rank out here, as long as it's not something that's like completely useless, let me know. Like we kind of did, like, you know, we've gone around and done like different things like food and, you know, rides and stuff like that. But if there's something you can think of that might be a little different to rank out here, let me know and I'll maybe check it out. All right, one other thing I wanted to mention, while we're doing a top 5 favorites, let's talk about my top 3 least favorite rides here at the park. Number 1, by far, is the wheel. Never been a fan of that one, and I think just the reason is like, I just don't feel secure in that thing, to be honest with you. And every time that thing goes around, it always stops me right at the very top, because I know it has to, because it has to load. I'm not a fan of that one, that's all I'll say. Number 2, the Sky Ride here. Again, like, that ride's so old, I just don't feel super safe on it. And I know there's people that have not been safe on it. And so that's just one that, like, I just don't like riding it at all. Number 3 would be the planes, the ones that, the air race. That ride, I've only been on it one time, and like that's the closest I've ever been to just like pure vomiting right after a ride. And I know a lot of people like the spin stuff doesn't bother them, but that thing messed me up so bad. So those are my 3. Put down your 3 least favorite rides here at the park in the comments if you want to. So that brings us to number 1 on the list. I know that like this one's not gonna be like a super popular opinion probably, because I know a lot of people don't like love this ride, but Wicked is my number 1, and it always has been, and for the last 3 years, this has always been number 1 on this list. There's a couple of reasons why I like this one so much. You know, I was talking to a guy actually yesterday that was out of town, and he was talking about this as well. This is one of those only rides, you know, that I know of that just immediately launches you up and immediately back down. And I know like a lot of people kind of talk about how the second half of the ride's kind of mediocre, and I agree that the second half of the ride probably has more that could be desired for it. But that launch, and I just love, you know, we talked about this with the rocket ride as well. I just love rides that put you from like 0 to 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever this one goes to, like in a couple seconds. Just that feeling of launching, it's like the closest we'll get to be like in a rocket ship, you know? And I just love that so much, and I think that uniqueness is what makes me love this ride so much. Also, like during the kind of busier times, this is one that's a little easier to get on too, because Primordial and Cannibal and stuff, lines can be so bad. So I think that's another reason why I like it. It's a really accessible ride, and I just love it so much, and that's why it's my number 1. All right, so tell me if I'm crazy here, but I always like associated like the word Wicked to like the Wicked Witch of the West, because they've got like the play and everything about it, which actually we saw that last weekend. It was awesome. But tell me what you think about this. So when you go over the first, up and down, and then you do that like the very first corkscrew, it kind of makes me feel like akin to like a Wicked Witch on a broom, like doing like a, like a loop-de-loop like on a broom. And I always thought about that when I rode this ride. Tell me what you think about that. I wonder if that was like the design intention, or if that's something that I kind of just came up with in my head. All right, everybody. That's gonna do it for the top 5 at Lagoon in Farmington, Utah. This was a fun one. I love going on my favorite rides because I don't always go on rides when I'm out here. Thanks so much for being part of the channel. And I do want to say, put your 5 top favorite rides out here in the comments down below. I'd love to see what your guys' favorites are. It might be some of the new ones, it might be some of the old ones. Thanks for joining us on the XP project.